Good afternoon, everyone. We're here to commemorate and mourn the loss of Lynda Sue Simon. Our hearts are heavy with grief, and we share the common goal of a wonderful person as she was, and we'll hear some of that today. I'd like to invite the senior rabbi from Bnei Yeshurun, Rabbi Rudon Luria, to lead us in Psalm 23 in the English.
Thank you, Cantor Schiffman, and my condolences on behalf of Bnei Yeshurun to the entire family. And please join with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. God maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, binodesh yabitzeini, al mei menuchot yenahaleini. Nafshi yeshovev, yancheni v'maglei tzedek, leman shemom, gam ki elech begeitz al mavet, lo yirara, ki ata imadi, shiftecha umishanetecha, hema yenachamuni. Ta'aroch lefanai shulchan, neged zorerai, dishanta vashem roshi, kosi revayam. Ach tov v'chesed, yirdefuni kol yamei chayai, v'shavti b'beit Adonai, leyorech yamim. From the book of Proverbs. What a precious find is an Eshet Chayil, a woman of valor. Her worth is far beyond rubies. Her husband puts his confidence in her and lacks no good thing. She's good to him, never bad, all the days of her life. She opens her hand to the needy and extends her hands to the poor. She is clothed with the strength of splendor. She looks to the future cheerfully. She opens her mouth with wisdom. Her tongue is guided with kindness. She oversees the activities of her household and never eats the bread of idleness. Her children come forward and bless her. Her husband praises her and says, "Many women have done superbly, but you surpass them all." Charm is deceitful and beauty vain, but a God-revering woman is much to be praised. Extol her for the fruit of her hand, wherever people gather, and her deeds speak her praise. And we say, Amen. We're gathered here today to commemorate and mourn, but also to celebrate the life of Lynda Sue Simon. At this time, I'd like to extend our sympathies and condolences to the entire family, to her deceased parents who raised her, I'm sure are looking down today with joy as Lynda has joined them in the next world, Corinne and Sanford Wallenstein, her children, Josh and Nicole, her pride and joy, her grandchildren, Olivia, Emily, Lila, Drew, and Lexi, her siblings, Denise and deceased husband David, Scott and Kathy, her former husband Ken Simon, nieces and nephews, and all of you that are here today and those watching on the stream. May you all find comfort and strength in this most difficult hour. Before we proceed forward with the eulogy, I'd like to invite her daughter, Nicole, who has some thoughts that she'd like to share with us.
Hi.
Make sure to speak into the mic, okay?
Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming, even today. Like all of us, my mother was many things, quite possibly something incredibly different to each of us. Mother, friend, sister, aunt, grandmother, soulmate, fellow creative spirit. We all got to have our own experiences of my mother that very well may be unique to each of us. But one thing we all know to be true about Lynda Simon is that she loved. My mother loved her family. She loved being able to live under the same roof as her grandparents. She loved when her father drove her all the way to the art museum for art lessons. She loved her roller skates. And she loved being a big sister. My mother loved her friends. And she loved to have fun. She loved a party, except for surprise ones thrown in her honor. And man, she loved to dance. She loved to tell stories, and she loved details. My mother loved kids and being a mom, but she loved being a grandma. I was lucky to have a conversation about grieving with my mother many, many years ago. I believe her exact words were, "Just throw me in a pine box and throw it in the woods somewhere and go have a party." While I understood the sentiment, I knew it wouldn't be possible. This way of grieving, it doesn't make sense. I couldn't comprehend it. But now, not so all of a sudden. Everything is different. I see now how my mother raised me to see the duality in things. And nothing can show us the beauty in duality quite like death does. Of course there's grieving. Grieving is important. As I tell my kids, there's nothing more real than what you feel. We grieve because we feel the loss of what my mother brought to this world, to our lives, who she was to us, and we know the value in that. The times she made us laugh, the times we felt loved, the times she went out of her way to make sure that you mattered. That, right there, that's the secret. Those feelings, those memories, that's where the magic is. Follow the lead of my mother, Lynda Simon, and focus on love. Linger in the memories that bring tears to your eyes and a smile to your heart. So if you'd really like to honor my mother's wishes, or try to, it's all she ever asked, remember who she was, put some music on, and dance.
Nicole, thank you for those beautiful words. Our sages teach us that dvarim hayotzim min halev nichnasim lalev, words that come from the heart penetrate the heart. Lynda was born in University Heights, and she had two siblings, Scott and Denise, and they were extremely close growing up. Scott recalls fondly being the youngest and how Lynda would take him all over, going bowling, and also felt as though he was her puppy dog. She was always getting him out of trouble. He was very active and energetic, and he wore out his sisters, but he was so loved. He remembers at the tender age of a 13-year-old, his sister taking him to see a Doors concert. And just for a frame of reference, I've never met anyone that actually saw the Doors, so thank you for sharing that memory. She had no fear and was full of life and fun experiences, regardless of the consequences. In her mind, life was meant to be lived and enjoyed. Kathy was best friends with Lynda and has many fun memories, including trips to Ann Arbor Festival and ski trips, traveling abroad to Israel to visit Lynda's aunt. She also remembers fondly leaving her boys with Lynda when she went away. Unfortunately, on such a trip, one of them got chickenpox. And Lynda did not flinch and told Kathy, "Don't worry about it, I've got it covered." Years later, her other son came down with chickenpox, and she asked Lynda how to deal with it. Kenny remembers Lynda to have been very kind and a very charitable person. She had a master's in art therapy. She donated of her time to help people suffering with mental illness. She worked with youths at risk. She felt very strongly about helping others and being a difference maker. Lynda and Kenny had their two children, Josh and Nicole, in the mid-1970s. Nicole remembers her mom as an avid artist. She internalized the lifestyle of an artist, and it permeated in everything that she did. She was creative as an artist and a thinker outside of the box. Josh remembers how she loved their childhood friends. She volunteered in school programs and made her home welcome place for all of their friends to come to. No questions asked about even the activities that took place at the home. Lynda worked at Ursuline's summer program as an art therapist. During her latter years, when she was in a memory unit in Florida, their entire unit was locked down due to a pending hurricane. Lynda stepped up immediately and helped everyone, especially the kids, right through the scary moment, as you can imagine. As mentioned by Nicole, she loved children and was instinctively a protector. Lila remembers Lynda singing all the time. She encouraged Lexi to express herself through art and left her with a canvas and painting supplies on her own to create from within, without any direction. Olivia continues the family tradition currently as an art major. You'll see that this is a theme within the family. Emma is a soccer star and is excelling in school. Lynda so loved her grandkids. Lexi remembers being with Olivia in Lynda's closet, dressing up and having the greatest time and dancing, wearing all these different outfits. Drew remembers dancing and having parties full of fun. She so loved to hear Lexi play the piano. Lila said that she was encouraged by her mother and her grandmother in terms of her music selection, and it permeated within her to obviously make her own choices, as an artist does, but she credits her grandmother for some of that direction. Lynda encouraged everyone to express themselves and not be inhibited. Annie had a very special bond with Lynda. They were best of friends, and she considered her like a sister. Annie will be eternally grateful for the support that Lynda gave her and Steve over the years. They were also business partners in the art world. They knew no limits as to the possibilities of art and self-expression. This included making their own sweatshirts, painting furniture, making banners, just to name a few. Lynda was so giving, caring, and loving, and she would often refuse to take no as an answer. She had a zest for life, and it rubbed off on those around her. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, the great Hasidic master, would emphasize over and over the need to be in a happy mindset. Love should be lived with zest and using one's energy force to enhance our individual experiences with God and one another. Lynda lived her life in that mode, tapping into her gifts of creativity. She did God's work to make life better for others. She was blessed to know her mission in life and act upon it. Like Lynda, may we all be inspired to make our world a better place, to help the downtrodden and pick each other up. May her name be for a blessing, and we say, Amen. At this point, we're going to do the memorial prayer. Please rise. El male rachamim, shochem bameromim, hametzeh menucha nechona, tachat kanfei השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מזהירים את לאה אסתר בת שיה, שהלכה לעולמה, בגן עדן, תהי מנוחתם. אהנה בעל הרחמים, הסתיריה בסתר כנפיך, לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם, אדוני הוא נחלתם, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. Exalted and compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Lynda, who is gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound in the bond of life, and may she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. Please be seated. Interment will follow at Mount Olive Cemetery. Due to the change of time today on account of the weather, as you know, we moved the funeral 1 hour later, visitation will be extended by 1 hour from the original notice. So instead of ending at 5, we'll end at 6. Visitation will be at 2547 Cedarwood Road in Pepper Pike. 2547 Cedarwood Road, Pepper Pike. Tenor.